wouldn't that be a quick way to turn things around? I mean, I don't know. I'm not suggesting they tank, but there's a lot of nice young players out there. I would be.
So let's change the roles up a little bit. We can all put on our armchair GM hats and discuss the trade deadline and what could happen. If you are in Masai and or Bobby's seat right now and had to make a decision in the next, as we're recording, in the next 3 days, the trade deadline leading up, where we're at right now, which way would you go about it? Would you fire sale and build for the future? Would you try to load up and fight for contention? How would you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great question, and I brought it up when the Raptors were 2-8, and there is talent there, and they were able to claw their way back to 500, which that takes a lot of effort to do that. But knowing that eventually COVID or injuries was going to catch up to them, it has with almost every team in the league this year. I mean, look at the 76ers now. Brooklyn Nets have had stuff all year. The Miami Heat. That's just 3 of the top 4 teams in the East. So you knew at some point something was going to happen. But here's the Raptors. They're 17-25. They have a nice starting 5. Do I think they could get into the playoffs? Sure. They could certainly get to 9 or 10. And in those one and done games, I wouldn't bet against the Raptors. If they're playing teams like New York Knicks or Chicago Bulls or Charlotte Hornets or Atlanta Hawks, my money's on the Raptors. They have the experience in those scenarios. But then what happens? Say you get the 7 or 8 spot. Who you're playing the 70s? They could probably give the 76ers a run. The Sixers are better than they were last year, and maybe 2 years ago. Embiid's better, but what are you going to do if you're the Raptors? You're going to beat the Nets. I mean, I don't think anyone in the league is going to beat the Nets. I mean, even without Durant, I think Harden is the MVP of the league. I think a team with Harden and even Irving is generally unstoppable, certainly in the East. You throw Kevin Durant in there and, I think it's over. So the question is, what are you playing for? What are you going for at 17-25 in a 72-game season? So I don't know that championship aspirations are there. So now you have to ask the question with, however many hours we have left to the trade deadline. You've lost 4 frontline players to free agency with nothing in return over the last 2 years. Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka. You really want Lowry and Norman Powell to leave in the same fashion? Are you willing to pay Norman Powell what he will get on the market next year? So it's a tough decision. If it's me, I would trade Powell and see what I can get back in terms of maybe another expiring contract, but certainly draft pick. You need another draft pick or 2. And with Kyle Lowry, different situation. He's the greatest Raptor of all time, the GOAT. And he deserves to, you do what he wants. If he wants to be sent to a team that's contending for the title this year, if he wants to go to Milwaukee Bucks or Philadelphia 76ers or, now maybe Charlotte Hornets, not that they're in the mix for the championship, but you have to give him the benefit of the doubt and do what he wants. Maybe Kyle wants to come back for another year next year. Okay, that would kill some of the salary cap, which is some of the freedom you want for next year. But I don't know. At 17-25, I have to say, to me, the Raptors should be selling.
So say Kyle does want to leave. Is there a set price that you would be looking for from, say, the Sixers or like the Miami Heat? Or is it kind of just, let's get what we can. We know he's leaving. I know he wants to leave and go play for a contender. Is it sort of like that? Or is there something, I definitely need to get this first rounder and this expiring contract from this set?
I mean, you look at the history of the team, what did they get for Tracy McGrady? What did they get for Vince Carter? What did they get for Chris Bosh? What did they get for Kawhi Leonard? Not much.
Right.
At this point, though, you can't I think they need draft picks. I think you want to have empty books. You want to be well below the salary cap while you're not necessarily competing for a championship. And you want to open the books, and you want to get young players in there. Honestly, if that means even trading Siakam to get back an expiring contract, maybe you do that. The only person on the team to me who is untouchable is Fred VanVleet.
Mm-hmm.
I would move anybody with an eye on the future and getting this team back into contention for a championship within 3 to 5 years. But we saw how long it took. The team didn't really get into the mix until they traded Rudy Gay.
No, not this guy!
At the end of 2013, all of a sudden they're a playoff team in 2014, but it took 5 years to get over the hump and get to the NBA Finals. So it's a long process. Okay, who's the next DeMar DeRozan? Who's the next Jonas Valanciunas who you start building it with? I've been watching a lot of March Madness. There is an amazing draft coming up this year. There are a lot of really good young basketball players. I didn't think last year's draft was much. Mm-hmm. I think this year's is super deep. There's a ton of talent. Like, just look at Gonzaga. I mean, there's 3 guys right there who could help make your NBA team better today. So if I'm the Raptors, I'm looking to unload contracts, get well under the salary cap, and get young players in there and get back to what the Raptors did amazingly for so many years, which is develop young talent.
Is there a guy that's in the league right now, a young player that you feel like you could make a move for? Like just throwing a name out there, like Alonzo Ball or something along those lines. Is there somebody out there right now that's already been drafted and already somewhere that you would look to go after?
I don't know. I mean, would it be cool to get Andrew Wiggins to Toronto? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he really has turned out to be what would have been expected as a number 1 pick. I mean, he's a nice NBA player, but he's not at all-star level. But it would be nice to have a decent Canadian. Well, I guess you have Boucher, but it would be nice to have kind of a big name Canadian player. I don't know. I don't really know who's necessarily available of the young crop of talent that's out there. But yeah. I mean, how good would it be to get someone like Kispert in the NBA draft, or like a Jalen Suggs, or Luke Garza, or some of the Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Right? Like, you get a player like that, and already you're talking about turning around the fortunes of your franchise. So, there's several players out there who are going to be at that level, and if the Raptors lost every game for the rest of the year and won the lottery. And this year, the lottery, like, there's basically 3 guys who could be number 1. Wouldn't that be a quick way to turn things around? I mean, I don't know. I'm not suggesting they tank, but there's a lot of nice young players out there. I would be, if I'm not in championship contention right now, and if even making the playoffs is in question, I'm trading contracts, and I'm looking to have a real nice stockpile in the draft.
So Danny GM's going all in on the draft. That's what you're giving us. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Knockout. You win.